Hello friends, so this lecture is about the detection of alpha rhythm in an EEG signal. We know we have alpha waves, beta waves, different types of wave which correspond to EEG signal. So in this we will discuss application of whatever some methods we have studied earlier. Mainly in this we will see the application of autocorrelation function and correlation function in detecting alpha rhythm in an EEG signal. So let's begin with that. So our problem is we have to detect the presence of alpha rhythm in an EEG channel. And also in this we will see how we can extend this method to detect the presence of same rhythm simultaneously in two EEG channels. So one we will see for detection in one we can say signal, and then we will see if suppose same rhythm is present in both, or I can say two EEG channels, then how we can detect the presence of that frequency, or we can say rhythm. So this is our problem. Now first I will describe little bit about autocorrelation and cross correlation function in this, and then we will see how we can apply this to EEG signal for determination of alpha rhythm. So two signals, if we want to compare two signals mainly to detect the common characteristics via their dot product. So basically what dot product will give? It will give the projection of one signal to the other. So you can see this equation number 1. This is x dot y, which is equal to, you can see summation n is equal to capital N to minus 1 xn yn. So here we are considering that both xn and yn, they have n number of samples, capital N number of samples. Now this dot product, we can normalize this dot product by geometric mean of the energies of the two signals, that is xn and yn, to obtain the correlation coefficient. So how we can determine the formula of correlation coefficient? So we can see this dot product, that is summation n equal to 0 to capital N minus 1 xn into yn, that is now divided by the energies of these two signals. And you can see first is like summation n equal to 0 to n minus 1 x square n, and then we have summation n equal to 0 to capital N minus 1 y square n whole under root. So this is how we can obtain the correlation coefficient. Now in case we have to, this was when we have discrete type of signals. Now suppose we have two continuous time signals, means in t, that is xt and yt. Then how we can find the projection of one signal onto the other? That can be realized by means of integration. So now instead of summation we will use integration. So you can see equation number 3, that is integration with the limits minus infinity to plus infinity xt yt with respect to dt, means with respect to t we have to integrate. So if there is any shift, or we can say time delay, is present between the two signals, that is xt and yt, in the occurrence of epoch of interest in the two signals, then it is necessary to introduce a time shift parameter to compute the projection for every possible position of overlap. So in that case we have to introduce the time shift, or we can say delay parameter. So let's see how we can keep in the formula. So the cross correlation function between the two signals of interest for a shift or delay of tau seconds, if means we are considering shift of tau seconds and delay of k samples, then what will be the change in formula? You can see equation 4 and 5. So first corresponds to basically in time, that is continuous time signal, and in this we are keeping tau, that is amount of delay, or you can say shift by tau seconds. So formula will be integration minus infinity to plus infinity xt y of t plus tau dt. And similarly, if we talk in discrete terms, so you will have the delay of k samples. So it will be this. Now n will have range depending upon the available overlapped data. So it is xn into y of n plus k. So we have k delay or k samples delay, and in continuous it is tau second shift. So this is the cross correlation function if we want to compute the similarity or we can say difference in the two signals. Now if I want to calculate autocorrelation function, means the same signal I have to correlate with the particular same signal, then this cross correlation function, that is CCF, have to be computed for various shifts, and we can add zeros to one of the signal and increase its length by the maximum shift of interest. So we can keep zeros if we have, let's suppose when we want to calculate ACF or CCF, if there are more number of values and if we want to shift to large values, we can add zeros to the signal which is having less length. Now that was, we have discussed in terms of discrete signal, we have discussed in terms of continuous signal. Now let's suppose we have random signals, because we know noise is mainly the random nature. So we need to take the expectation or simple average of the outer product of the vectors formed by the available samples of the signal. So here what we are assuming, that we have n samples of each. So xn can be expressed as xn x of n minus 1, then it is up to x of n minus of, in bracket if I keep n minus 1, so it will become x of this, you can see n minus n plus 1. So this is total vectors of x and transpose of that matrix. Similarly for y, they represent n dimensional vector form of this signal xn and yn, and we have taken capital N number of samples available in each signal at the time instant n. Now if xn and yn are the simple observations of random process, then what is the formula to calculate cross correlation function? You can see given by equation number 6, that is expectation operator xn into y transpose n. So that is how we can find cross correlation function. So this is n cross n matrix, basically xn dot y transpose n will be a n cross n matrix that provides the cross terms including all possible delays within the duration of the signal. So this is mainly, we have talked about cross correlation function. Now we have not mentioned the formula of autocorrelation function. So how I can modify all above equations if I need to calculate autocorrelation function, that is just I have to replace the second signal, let's suppose y, with the first signal x, then we can compare x with itself. So that will be autocorrelation function. And autocorrelation function, it displays peaks at intervals corresponding to the period of any periodic or repetitive pattern present in the signal. So this property basically facilitates the detection of rhythms in EEG signal. Either we can go for cross correlation or autocorrelation function. So the autocorrelation function of most signals decays and it reaches to a negligible value after a delay of few seconds, except for periodic signals, for which autocorrelation function will be exhibiting same periodic peaks. It will show same periodic peaks. And the cross correlation function, it will display peaks at the period of any periodic pattern present in both of the signal being analyzed. So autocorrelation function is to compare the signal with itself, and cross correlation function is when we want to compare two different signals. So cross correlation function may therefore used to detect common rhythms present between the two signals, like we have to find alpha rhythm between the two channels of EEG signal. So we should remember, when we are talking about one signal and we have to check for some particular signal or particular wave, then we have to go for autocorrelation function. And if I want to compare two different signals for the same thing, then I can go for cross correlation function. Now let's see the application of these. So in first figure you can see this is P4 channel of the EEG. We know we have different channels when we take EEG signal. So this is P4 channel, and you see the range. In this range basically we are taking 4.67 to 5.81 second. So it displays the alpha rhythm. And if I take autocorrelation of this segment, this much segments we are taking, that is in the time interval of 4.67 to 5.81 second. This scale is in time, so it is 1 second here, so 2, 3, 4, so this is 4 seconds. So you can say 4.67 to approximately 5.81 second we are considering this segment. And if I want to take autocorrelation function, then you can see the second figure. So it is showing autocorrelation function, and because we want to go for alpha rhythm, and we should know that alpha frequencies are mostly in the range of 7 to 12 hertz. So alpha wave or alpha rhythm is having frequency in the range of 7 to 12 hertz. So we can see typically at 0.11 second. So you can see in this interval it is displaying the peak and also at its integral multiples. Now this thing also we can analyze by calculating the power spectral density, means by taking the Fourier transform of autocorrelation function, it will give power spectral density, and we have plotted this in decibels. So you can see 0.11 second means it is approximately 9 hertz. So you can see it is showing the peak at 9 hertz. That means it is having alpha rhythm. So the inverse of the delay, that is we have taken 0.11 second of the first peak, it corresponds to 9 hertz, which is within the alpha rhythm range. So it is obvious that this analyzed signal segment contains the alpha rhythm. Now let's check on the other way. Now we have this F3 channel of the EEG signal again. Now we have taken the range of 4.2 to 4.96 second. You can see this window. Now again we have calculated the autocorrelation function of this much segment, and you can see the graph of autocorrelation function. There is no peak basically in the range of 0.08 to 0.14 seconds, that corresponds to 7 to 12 hertz, indicating absence of the alpha rhythm in this segment. That means in this there is no alpha wave is present or alpha rhythm is present. So this was when we want to compare a particular, when we want to detect alpha rhythm in a particular channel of EEG. Now, so this is again you can see by terms of power spectral density. So it is also showing that there is absence of alpha rhythm. Now, if I want to, you remember the second question was when we want to detect alpha rhythm simultaneously in two channels. So that for that we can use cross correlation function, that is CCF. And this figure, first if you see, it is showing two channels P3 and P4, and we are considering this segment, or we can say time range, of 4.72 to 5.71 second, and both are exhibiting alpha rhythm in this. And how we can detect this? We can go for now cross correlation function of these two channels, signals from these two channels, that is P3 and P4. So that much segment we have considered, and you can see the cross correlation. So it is also showing peaks. You can see at, if you take 0.11 second, then also it is showing approximately peak. So that corresponds to alpha wave, or we can say alpha rhythm. So in this, both the signals are exhibiting alpha rhythms. You will get peak at that corresponding frequency and their integral multiples. Now let's see another example. We have now two channels, C4 and O2. If you see, C4 is not having alpha rhythm, but O2 is having alpha rhythm, and in this we have considered the segment on range of 5.71 to 6.78 second. So you can see the CCF of this cross correlation function. So it is showing less, means peak is there, but it is less in amplitude, because in one signal it is present, in other signal it is not present. Now we'll take another case. We are taking two channels, F3 and F4. So now we are taking the range 4.13 to 4.96 second, and basically in this both the channels are not having alpha rhythm. So if you see the cross correlation, if you compute and check, there is no peak at all, because there is no alpha rhythm present. So we can analyze that relative strength of the peaks in the alpha range show the joint presence, whether that alpha rhythm is present in both the signals, or it is singular presence, means it is present in one but it is not present in the other, or it can be the absence of alpha rhythm in the segment we are analyzing. So this is how we can detect the presence of alpha rhythm in one EEG signal, or we can compare the two EEG channels separately. Fine. So this is all in this lecture. For reference, you can go for this book. Thank you so much.